Have you ever imagined being lost in the middle of nowhere, out in the wild? Neither have I, and here we are with the latest episode of UAE's Hidden Gems. Let us remind our viewers this is for the first time that the famous Bear Grylls survivor camp is right here in the UAE. So that's Bhupesh, that's Tom, and that's Ben.
So we've got our bags packed, we're just about ready to go out into the Wadi for a 24-hour survival.
Pretty sure this is going to be very different to what he just said. This is going to be surviving in a desert country, in the middle of a mountain, absolutely in the middle of nowhere. We'll see that. We'll now head down to the Wadi and we'll have to walk it. So this was the start of a 24-hour survivors camp. At just about noon on a warm Tuesday, we set out for what was a mission to spend one whole night in the wilderness of Ras Al Khaimah. And the brief was simple, just follow the trail like Bear Grylls. Yes, the same guy who's jumped off cliffs, drank his own urine and gorged on half-eaten salmon for lunch. The same guy who's made heads of states, famous actors and average women and men appear rough and tough while braving the odds of nature in his hit reality shows. Today, it was our turn to master the art of survival in the wild. Right, so this is the first stop. After 10 minutes of walking down, we are on our way to the Wadi, and Tom's reminded that I need to get the bag off, give 5 minutes to listen to his list of priorities to survive in the wild.
These priorities of survival have formed from his experience at Eton, the experience in the 2-1 SAS, the French Foreign Legion, and then all his shows of Man vs Wild. A good way to remember them is please remember what first. And the P, the R, the W and F stand for protection, rescue, water, food.
And this is a warning if any of you coming out for this. You've just got one oatmeal bar to survive for the rest of the day. There's no lunch if you're thinking. As we made our way into the Wadi, an Arabic term traditionally referred to a valley, or often in this part of the world a dry riverbed that quickly gets filled with water as it rains heavily, we realized this wasn't as easy as it looked in the beginning. But we slowly began getting a foothold, not always quite, but just about, with a bit of help from Ben, Tom and Bhupesh, our instructors. They taught us various things at various stages in our trudge up the treacherous mountains, from tying knots, to handling knives, to starting fires using all kinds of tricks up our sleeves.
Fire for protection, because it's going to protect you from the cold. It's going to protect you from animals, and if you can see where you're going, you're protected.
Even as we continued our way up, with virtually no end in sight, and silent prayers that we don't encounter the vipers and the scorpions that this stretch is famous for. And then as it grew darker and night fell, we sensed we were getting closer to our night stop. But dinner was still nowhere to be seen. The only thing left was to learn how to forage. You trap, you snare, and you simply kill. Right, so it's just gone past 6:15 and we are standing at the base camp now. I'm hoping we'll be able to retire for the night. That's what you see. This is after hours of dedicated learning.
now lit up a fire in the middle of nowhere. I can see the moon shining bright, the bonfire is lit, but we still don't know what's for dinner. That's still a surprise.
And soon the surprise was over. We had 4 dead pigeons in front of us for the 6 of us.
You know, I've got birds at home and I've never imagined I'll have to pick a pigeon like this, prepare a dinner, but this is surviving in the wild.
And the toughest part came when you had to debone and defeather the bird with your bare hands in search of that little meat. As the fire raged on and the water boiled, it was time to get down to prepare the dinner next. And the dinner was ready.
After a long wait, this is the first bit of carbs you've had, and that's the broth. Rahul cuts the vegetables up. It doesn't look as good, but I can tell you, after almost 8 hours of trekking, this is the best meal you can have. It's 9:15. We had the last session. We spoke a bit about the twinkly stars and how to find your direction if you're lost. I retain some of that knowledge and I'll reflect on that when I get into my tent that's just behind us. But that, I hope, concludes our day.
Yeah, so you've survived your first day. I hope you're feeling good.
Yeah.
Hope you've retained all of that knowledge that you've been going through the day. I hope you're still feeling strong, because we've got another 12 hours to go yet before we get you home.
Alright, good night and see you all tomorrow. Right, it's just 6 o'clock. That's the start of our day 2. And we've already been woken up by our instructors waiting. And I think we're just a couple of minutes late. Time to get started. And there we go. I don't know what unfolds later on, but this is the start of day 2. Yeah, so we're just walking down this wadi. We spent our night just down the stretch. We've had a couple of lessons since morning, how to find a shelter or how to make a shelter if you're stuck somewhere, and also how to conserve water if you don't have much of it. And those 2 lessons done, we're walking for the 3rd unknown lesson.
At around 10 the next morning, we sensed we were getting close to our finish line. But as they say, it's not over till it's over. And as imaginary water filled the wadi, we rushed to be rescued.
Okay, right, let's go, let's get out of this body, the flood's coming in. Let's get above this borderline. All the way in, all the way strong. Get to the top. Let me hear your war cry. Yeah! Yeah! Done it!
Continued trekking high up the wadi above the water level, overlooking some of the most stunning sights yet.
So we're lighting a fire because we're trying to signal we need to be rescued. It's a real life situation.
Wonderful, perfect. Okay, right, let's start getting our kit away. Yeah! Save us! We need to start thinking about getting out of here. We've got our rescue team waiting. They're not going to hang about. They're certainly not going to wait for us.
Before the final rescue act, there was still one bit of surprise left for us.
When you're out in the wild and you need to survive, sometimes you've got to do what you need to do to survive.
Okay.
So take a good pinch.
I've never done this. Dead worms. Nice. Wow. That's the worm. Dried. And then it goes inside.
Feel that energy?
This, I'm assuming, is our final bit, if we can scale down this little mountain that you see.
Little did we know that we were actually fed that superfood for all the extra energy we needed for the final push down this mountain face, abseiling, only way down and out of this wadi, the only way to survive.
There we go. Feels okay.
Back up.
Here I am, that's abseiling. Never done it before. Never knew I could do it. This is what you get. A little bit of bruise, blood and sweat that goes in, but it's totally worth it.
These were the absolute last moments of this survival race we had been running for the last 24 hours or so. And perhaps the toughest yet, because the body was beginning to give in, and the mind finally beginning to give up. So all's well that ends well. Rahul, Sajjad and I have been rescued, plucked just in time out of the wadi beginning to fill up with water.
Thank you very much. Never believed we would do it. We've done it. One final report at the base camp.
Nothing sweeter than the drive back to where we started exactly 24 hours ago.
Never give up. This is one thing that I take away from this 24-hour course, and I've got this to certify. Never give up. There will be challenges, which is what we found out in the last 24 hours, and this is the attitude that we take away from here. I'll see you again in our next episode of UAE's Hidden Gems.